Watch this here.
I remember him talking about white supremacy crap. So you're into white supremacy, not you, but him. And you want to say because white people don't define black in a textbook or in a law book, you think it is irrelevant. That is the dumbest crap I've heard in a long time. We chose to call ourselves black. It started about 1966.
Can you break that down for us, Judge?
1967. And in 1967, we switched to Afro-American. And then it went back to black, and then somewhere in the late 70s, Jesse Jackson popularized African American. But he really didn't even start it. He just popularized it because it popped back up again. We had meetings all over the United States. We had Panther Party meetings, meetings with the Nation of Islam, and we decided to call ourselves black. When it started developing, I was in college. I was right there on the forefront when we decided to start calling ourselves black. And then we sort of, for a number of reasons, because of what we called third world unity, we started calling ourselves Afro-Americans. White folk didn't pick those terms out. We did. They were still trying to call Negro.
But Judge, wasn't the student body was serving as a black caucus to the white organizations, though? Isn't that why they were created?
It wasn't anybody doing that because we weren't doing this bullshit that's going on right now. We were jacking people up.
The student movement started in 1960, right?
The students movement is what... Look, we were blowing stuff up. We were burning stuff up. We had the riots started in 64, 65, 66, 67. When you read the congressional records as to why they passed all the civil rights and voting rights stuff, it had not a damn thing to do with the civil rights movement. It was the fact that black folk were burning down American cities and wreaking the same level of destruction that the U.S. Army Air Force was doing on Nazi Germany with their bombing campaign.
Judge, they said that Cointelpro was a part of the student movement.
I don't care what the hell they said about. I don't say what the hell
it is about.
No, Cointelpro was trying to offset what we were doing.
Well, other documents that say that they actually had people inside of the student movements that was taking place.
They did. They infiltrated it. They had snitches. They had pimps. They had simps. And by the time 1968 got around, nobody could trust anybody. And the whole damn thing started falling apart. Gangs started restoring themselves where they just disappeared after about 1965, 66.
But Judge, isn't it true that the Ford Foundation funded those radical movements?
We didn't get that. That wasn't how that started off.
Who was they funding?
I don't know, but there were people that decided that they wanted to go up there.
Were any of those guys a part of the coming up with something for y'all? Yeah. So is black did something for you guys?
I grew up in South Central LA, 58th place and north.
I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar. Yeah.
Okay, now we decided we calling each other black. All the homeboys out on the Black Panther Party, the Nation.
Were there any other options? I guess
no,
were there any other options on the table?
It's like
what made y'all go with black? What was wrong with Negro, Judge?
Negro is a slave name. They kidnapped boatloads of slaves from the Spanish, and they were called Negroes. We have Negroes for sale cheap. That's Spanish. You don't see somebody saying, "Man, I'm Blanco, man." Hell no. By the time 66 came along, ain't nobody was into anything calling anybody Negro. We were black.
1969.
66. And then about 67, we started using the term Afro-American. That's just a fact. It's got nothing to do with all this mystic stuff that goes on. That's reality. In other words, look, let me explain this. We had concepts that were taken from revolution. We talked about the intelligentsia, those who understood what was going on and plotted and planned in relation to the science of how politics and movements worked. We studied them intensely. We studied the Red Book. We studied the American Revolution. We studied the French Revolution. We had studied what happened in Algiers. Everybody was conversing on how it went down and what the deal was. We talked about alliances, third world alliances.
You keep saying we, no they.
I'm talking about not they. We didn't talk. Look, there ain't no white folk in this. In other words, you're down on 42nd Street and Broadway in Los Angeles. The Panther Party headquarters is across the street. You're having a meeting there. It's about what are we going to call. We called each other black. We called each other Afro-Americans. We talked about third world power, where we all have to combine with the third world so we could stick together in unity and achieve revolution from what was going on. That's what we talked about. So we studied and we carried it out. We made things happen. We didn't go peacefully demonstrating. We kicked ass. We ran professors off. You know, we went on patrols, armed patrols, out in the hood. And when the police pulled somebody over, if they dared at one point in time, we pulled over behind.
You said there was an organization that was like a third world that you guys
It wasn't
had
an
all
organization,
decided
it was
together?
a concept.
It was a concept. Did you guys have any third world people that you were kind of discussing with? And what kind of people would you discuss and what was the plan?
We had Ethiopians, we had Nigerians, we had House of Fulani, we had Igbo, we had Yoruba, we
How
had...
did y'all make those connections, Judge? That the West African just came from the Immigration Act in 65.
Like, for example, I had a place I was in, I had 2 Nigerian roommates who were Yoruba.
What programs did they come here? Were they part of the Peace Corps?
Well, no, they just got look.
The Phelps Stokes.
There wasn't that kind of program.
Lyndon B. Johnson passed the Immigration Act in 65. Since the 60s in the student movement, you had the Peace Corps movement, which was taking people
nobody
from here,
give a shit about
them over to Africa and bringing Africans over here.
Because ain't nobody give a shit about the Peace Corps.
They didn't decolonize Africa till the 1960s.
Ain't nobody give a shit about the Peace Corps. Peace Corps was a way of avoiding being a 1A and getting sent over to the now. If your 2A didn't work out right because your draft board was acting strange with you.
But the Peace Corps also sent people from America to Africa, right?
Yeah, they did. A whole lot of white
folks. And they also brought people the other way. You also had the Phelps Stokes. A whole lot of white folk
did that.
Right, so that's why I was asking.
See, look, let me put it to you this way. First off, there was no objection to anybody from Africa coming over here in the 60s because they were looking at what Jomo Kenyatta had done with the Mau Mau down in Kenya. The American government was anxious to keep Africa from going communist, so they were doing everything they could to encourage Africans coming over here and getting friendly with the United States.
Special Defense Act, that funded a lot of that because UCLA was one of the schools that got the Yoruba languages when they started funding the African languages over here through the Special Defense Act. 1958, UCLA was one of the first ones that got the program. Is that why we seeing Yoruba people actually come to UCLA?
No, that wasn't. I took Yoruba.
And this was college years?
Yes.
College years.
So I had 2 Nigerian roommates who were
Yoruba.
Year
was this? What year was this?
When they were my roommates, this was like 1968. Yeah,
it had to be after 65.
Well, I got at UCLA in 1965. So anyway.